So you've managed to find us and wondering what we're all about. Well, this is the Waffle Hour on Waffle Wednesdays with me, Bernard, and John. We're best mates for about 20 years and we waffle on about all kinds of subjects. Sheep, gin, New Year's resolutions, and everything in between. So make sure you come along every Wednesday morning, 7 or 2 a.m. We'll help you get through your hump day. Now, we are back after episode 1, which was obviously last week. So we're coming back for our Waffle Wednesday for our second episode. So we kind of done better than expected.
We did.
All right.
We did. Well, it was good. No, it was good fun, and we got a good bit of feedback from people that listened. So it was good crack.
According to the stats coming back, we have gone worldwide. John.
Yeah. So one lad was in Australia. Alan, thanks very much. He gave me a message all the way. Imagine a message came all the way from Australia, and it said "fair play." Technology.
Did he actually just say fair play to be?
No, he said it was good.
And then we had some in America. I'm not sure who that was.
Not sure.
No.
Not sure.
And Canada.
If you're listening, reach out.
So Canada was the other one. So Australia, Canada, and America. Canada, I don't know. That could have been
podcast enthusiasts.
Podcast just randomly finding us.
Just Google.
Now I do realise we're almost a minute into it and we haven't said the name of the show yet. No. So we really have to work kind of on the intro.
Branding.
Because you look at all the great shows, all the great podcasts, they always have a great intro. So it is the John Bernard Waffle Hour on Waffle Wednesdays. So after last week, as we said, we got some nice feedback. So now that we're a minute 20 into it, you've heard the name of the show. This week, so we are going to continue on our random topics, and we're going to talk about gin. So do stay tuned for that. We'll just briefly recap back messages on Facebook. Leanne obviously listened. Tully, down in Cork.
Stuff.
Yeah, she said it was good.
Next
door neighbour Michelle also, she kind of liked it because she's obviously living down the country as well, so it's a nice touch of home, which was kind of the point of the first one, to try and get in the local people before we went international. But then you see how many people that know us that are around the world, obviously, so that kind of helps. It won't always be looking back in the past. As I said, we'll talk about gin today, which is more a recent topic. In maybe a few podcasts time we might talk about past things as well. Again, we've some ideas for the next couple of episodes, so we'll get through maybe the first 5 or 6 and then we'll start running out of topics maybe.
We may be talking about sheep at some stage. You never know.
Sheep. And I actually had a good one about dads as well, because obviously you're dad.
Yeah.
And things that our dads taught us. So I think that might be an interesting one. And obviously to balance it up, if we do dads, we'll have to do mums at some stage.
We do.
So that's kind of 2 podcasts. You said sheep. We're doing gin today, which is your area of expertise. I won't say sheep is my area of expertise, but
it would be a bad thing to say that.
Yeah. We look at the sheep as in a complete rookie.
We should probably just mention that Bertie has sheep.
Yeah, I do.
Doesn't, 9 of them. He doesn't. He's not a sheep enthusiast in the sense that he watches sheep all the time.
No. So that might be another one. But anyway, today's topic is on gin. And John, if you may or may not know, John is the gin enthusiast on Instagram.
Yeah.
That is your handle on Instagram.
Gin enthusiast, yes, yeah.
So you can follow Instagram. We will set up an Instagram page. I have one slightly in the making for maybe when we get more followers maybe.
Yeah, we have to get blue tick as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. So I did call it oh no, what did I call it?
John Bernard. The Waffle Hour. We should probably find that out.
Yeah, I should have wrote that down. It's the JB Waffle Hour.
We've hired someone to do it though. We don't need to know these things.
No, we don't need to know.
Some big agency did it.
I wouldn't really have my phone on in what we've changed into our studio.
Yeah, but it's a podcast. You can pretend you're not going onto your phone if people want to know.
Oh, okay. It's the JB Waffle Hour podcast.
Yeah.
That on Instagram.
So you didn't get that on your phone at all.
No, I didn't. No, I knew that because I set it up earlier, so I know that.
Yeah.
I put up a picture of the Renault 19 just to touch base.
Oh, yeah.
Connection. Me and Nikki on the Renault 19, just for those who listened last week. Anyway, the gin. Okay, so you are the gin enthusiast on Instagram. You have many a follower.
A few for people that like gin, I suppose. Yeah.
For me, I'm obviously a pioneer. Don't drink. So
I drink a lot of alcohol, and you drink zero.
Yeah, so between the two of us, we probably have an average amount of alcohol for a person.
Still a high alcohol content, but yeah, I'm sure we even out.
For me, I suppose noticing gin, just from when you started doing it, did it take over from the craft beer? Is craft beer still a thing?
Craft beer's still a thing. That'll always be a thing, I think.
Oh, do I think that gin is more common now because I follow you and you talk about it? Or was gin always a thing?
Gin is huge. Gin is huge.
But there's definitely more types of gin. Like companies is doing.
Yeah, there's more. See, because it's so easy. No offense to gin companies out there, but it is an easy product to make. You can make it in literally like 24 hours. So you make gin on a Tuesday and you can have it in a bottle ready to sell on the Wednesday.
So it's not like you know the way like Scotch and whiskey is like 20 years.
That's the thing. You see,
and wine gets better with age. Is that?
And that's the thing with gin companies. A lot you see a big boom at the minute. That's because a lot of gin companies have made whiskey, and they made the whiskey. It's in the barrels. You have to wait 5 years, 10 years. What do you do for 5 years? You make this glorious spirit called gin that you can make really quickly.
So, like the whiskey company is more like, well, we have in next year it's going to be like 2018 or 2017's whiskey. No.
Technically.
Sorry, I'm asking you about whiskey, and you're obviously.
Well, whiskey's nice too. I like whiskey. Whiskey enthusiasts. I haven't set that Instagram page yet, but yeah, like put it this way. Let's say the gin craze started in 2016, so we're 5 years on now from 2016. So you're probably going to see in the news or a lot of gin distilleries now coming out with a whiskey, like Gunpowder Gin, like Shed Distillery. They have a whiskey out this year. A lot of companies do that now.
And did you start 2016? Is your Instagram going since 2016?
Yeah, 2016.
So you started your collection, but you didn't really start a collection. You just like drinking it.
Yeah, where I started with gin was I was in Super Value. I was managing the off license, and I didn't really drink much gin at all. Probably not even. I think the time I had gin before that was when I was like 14. I opened up the bottle of gin that was in the old liquor cabinet at home. You're not meant
to do that just for.
And I definitely did not.
You mean when you were 18?
I didn't do that. Imagine I did do it, and then imagine I put water in it after I drank it, and so there's.
To refill the bottle.
Imagine I didn't, and then imagine then when you turn 18, the mother gives you the bottle of gin to have as a gift, and it's full of water. But that didn't happen. But. That would be the time that I had a gin. So a lot of people would have had a bad experience with gin because they drank it like when they were kids. But don't do that, kids. And basically this company came in, Super Value Craft Gin Company, and I was very intrigued and heard the story behind it, and I went, "Jeez, that's a great story." And ever since then, I kind of went, "Got to tell more people about this." So with Super Value on the Facebook page, I started talking about gin, got more and more popular, and then I said, "Sure, I'll do a side blog and start blogging." Hustle. And that kind of just took off. A lot of people were passionate about gin, and I was passionate about telling people about gin, so took off.
So taste wise, because obviously I've never tasted it. Is it like a sharp spirit?
How would you explain the taste of gin to someone that's never tasted alcohol before?
Like, are you going? Is it a sweet thing? Is it a sour thing? Is it about balancing it with the right fruit thing? You know?
There's a kick to it, obviously, which you'd have to experience. It's like a very hot, it's a bit of a kick to it. It's hard to explain the taste.
You wouldn't have like a hot gin where you'd have a hot whiskey.
No. But as in the sensation, if you had like just a neutral spirit, the kick off of the alcohol would feel very hot.
Yeah.
But with the gin, that's the magic of it. It could be sweet, it could be dry, it could be fruity, could taste like chilies. You can do anything with gin.
And the gin companies, do they advertise it as a certain kind of gin, or is gin and it depends what you do to it to make it the way you want it?
Yeah, that's the magic of it. It's so robust in the sense that you can do anything you want with gin, as long as you keep to the basics of, like say, gin is made with a neutral grain spirit, so it's like 95% alcohol. Like it's basically an ethanol.
Yeah. And
you then distill that and you turn it into gin. So you need to add juniper berries, water, and then whatever botanicals that you want. The botanical would be like lemon, orange pieces, orange zest, like anything, coriander, all these things that would add in to create a flavour.
And are juniper berries an ingredient in making the gin, or is that something that you put into the glass to set the gin off?
No, juniper berries are literally what make... You can't have gin without juniper berries.
Okay, so it's an essential ingredient.
It's the first ingredient you put in. There's no actual law of how much juniper berries should be put into
That's
gin.
a wild berry.
It grows in the wild, yeah.
Oh.
Well, obviously, I'd imagine some people are growing them now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you found them in the wild, you could have a crack at making gin. No?
Well, that'd be the easy one. No, you still need a neutral grain spirit. But what you could do is, you could get a vodka, pull a load of juniper berries into it, and then you technically would have gin. Well, but you'd obviously leave it seep for like a couple of hours, like 24 hours.
Gin is vodka, no? Or a type of vodka?
See, vodka is neutral grain spirit, and then it's turned into a vodka. But gin is the same base, but juniper berries. In the layman's terms, obviously a lot of gin distillers would go, no, it's more complex, but basically.
And gin companies, if the gin is all the same, is that why their bottle game is so high? As their displays? Because you look at like whiskey is kind of a standard bottle. Scotch is a standard bottle. Scotch is like a square bottle, is it? No, and whiskey's like a round bottle. But when you go into an off license or even behind the bar and you look along, you could pick out like say gin bottles, especially the gunpowder one, the bright blue one. And then you've ones of it's a different shapes, different colours.
Yeah, it's lovely. Like,
is that just me talking out of my arse now?
No, because.
Or is the bottles is that part of the gin thing?
It's part of the gin game in as such, because like gin is obviously a clear spirit. There's no telling the difference. Let's say there's 40 gins on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's all a clear spirit. So the only way to stand out now is your bottle. So the one with the most funky bottle, the coolest looking bottle as a gift, people are going to go for that. So there is a bit of a competition of who can have the nicest bottle.
It's obviously very close to sanitizer as well.
It's very close to sanitizer.
A lot of companies changed it when people weren't drinking it. But I think that's a good hustle from companies too. I mean, you see a gap in the market and you go for it.
Yeah.
And I suppose it doesn't freeze either.
No, because of the alcohol.
Because of the alcohol. So that's the same kind of with sanitizer. I notice the sanitizer freeze in the gym.
That hand sanitizer would have been made in this giant stills that gin is made in.
So if it came out, the only difference was they put... I know what they put a lavender smell to make sanitizer and juniper berries to make
gin.
Okay.
Yes.
And then martinis. That's a gin cocktail, no?
Well, you can have vodka martini if you wanted, but the original martini would have been gin. And
they say that it's better to stir it instead of shake it because the shaking dilutes it down.
Yes, technically, like James Bond, he likes it shaken, but in general...
Yeah, that's not right then. That's just a line.
It's technically not right, and that's why it's kind of gotten famous. Like, nobody ever shakes their things, but James Bond does.
On a side note, so that's in a film, and he says, shaken, not stirred. But shaken is obviously not the best way to do it.
Well, shaken, it just waters it down a little bit. You still have a tasty martini.
But do you know that the phrase from a John Wayne movie, do you know the phrase lock and load?
Yeah.
But now I'm not a gun enthusiast, so I don't know if this is true. But apparently that's the wrong way around. Because if you lock the barrel, you can't put the ammunition in. So it should be load and lock. But he got it wrong in some movie, and it became famous
out of that.
I heard that somewhere. I'm not sure how
it should be load and lock.
So you say that gin isn't really like wine and stuff. It doesn't get better with age, but it doesn't also go out of date.
It doesn't go out of date, but...
So it stores quite well if you had bought it.
You've got to be careful though, because there are some gins with a lot of fresh botanicals in it. Let's say coloured gins that have natural colourings in it. Let's say they steep the gin in raspberries and it's a pink gin. Over the years that colour could go a different colour, it could go a bit browny. And
would that'll obviously affect the taste of it then as well?
No, technically not.
No.
Not in all cases, it's just the colour.
But I presume the colour is the same as the bottles. It's just to set itself apart. Like, is pink gin more like rocket fuel, where clear gin is the more mature adult drink?
If you see a pink gin, it means it's loads more sugar. Pink gin is technically like a liqueur. You know, it's not really like there are some pink gins out there that are real gins, but the majority of pink gins out there will be not real gins or gin liqueurs. They're very low. Like to be a gin, you have to be 37.5% alcohol.
Okay, so that's quite high compared to a lot of things, isn't it?
It's quite well. Let's say a beer is only like 4.6% alcohol, so technically you're talking about a spirit shot.
So if you were a gin drinker, you are more than likely for the taste and the experience rather than going out on a night out and drinking it as your drink. Because it obviously you can't go out and have like 9 or 10 of them. Well, you could, but
many people have. Yeah.
But you'd be like off your face, no?
Off your absolute face.
Because obviously that's more than like 9 or 10 pints.
Yeah, you're talking loads of pints. Yeah.
But it's expensive as well in pubs. Like, it's more expensive than a pint.
You pay £8 for one gin and tonic compared to a pint, and there's a lot more than a pint.
And the tumbler glass.
Yeah.
Does that make a difference in the way, mate? Why is it? Is it just one of these random things to try and set it apart?
No, technically it's right. You see, the balloon glass is technically Spanish, and 80% of drinking gin is what you're getting out your nose. So when you're drinking a balloon glass, your nose.
Oh, so you have to smell it to experience it, and
you get like the whiff,
like wine.
The whiff of it. But the balloon glass allows your nose to go into your drink as you smell, as you sip it. So
okay, instead of a narrow, like a flute glass, is that what it's called?
Yeah, flute glass, like a champagne glass. But with the balloon glass, your whole face is going in, your nose is getting deep in there. And you're getting the aroma from the rosemary, like, there's rosemary, there could be thyme, there could be mint in the gin. You know, so you're getting that.
And is then, like, gin tasting events the same as wine and stuff?
Yes, I host a lot of them and Navan and stuff like that, so it's very common.
And would that be people who are just like enthusiasts as yourself? Like, do you call yourself a collector or do you call yourself an enthusiast?
I would,
because you have obviously a collection of.
I wouldn't call myself a gin expert, but like a gin enthusiast, I would. Like people like Star Wars, people collect Star Wars figurines. People like collecting toenails. I don't do that. Gave up on that a long time ago. But people collect. I just collect gins. I like gins. I like the history behind gins. I like the people behind the gin, and and I suppose I like the more gin I have, the better I feel. Yeah, collections.
And I suppose it's like everything else. Where it started, it probably started in the medicine or something, did it? Do you know that far back?
Yeah. Well, you see, there's a story behind the gin and tonic, but gin would have started back.
Okay, yeah. So G&T, that's what I would have known as. But is that like the old version of it? The gin and tonic where now, or was there always berries and always tonic? Does it have to go together?
No, it was always gin separate and then tonic. Gin and tonic only got together like in the 1800s, back in the time of the British in India. Like tonic was a whole separate drink to fight malaria.
Okay.
You know, so it was the British soldiers
So then put it together. And what?
Well, it was disgusting. It was an absolute horrible tonic.
Gin
drink.
itself, like?
No, the tonic.
Oh, the tonic.
It was disgusting.
So they put gin in it to make it feel better, not the other way around. Like.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it kind of just happened. Yeah, they started mixing, and then all of a sudden it became.
But tonic is fizzy. No.
Tonic is fizzy.
So is that to make the gin fizzy?
No.
Or to dilute it down?
See, the tonic is there's a nice bit of flavour in tonic, and then the gin has its own botanicals and stuff like that. So when you mix the both of them together, you get a kick and a fizz, and also the flavours from your gin. Your tonic technically
is optional. No,
you need your tonic.
Oh, you need
your tonic should be as flavourless as possible.
That's what I was just going to say. You don't have flavours in tonic and stuff.
You have the quinine taste to it,
yeah,
which has a kind of a bitterness. But once you add the gin, that's where your flavours then come from.
And do you ever feel that you can sleep better after drinking gin?
Well, after a few drinks, you always sleep better. Yeah,
because there wouldn't be as much sugar in gin as in a lot of other drinks.
There's literally no sugar in gin.
Yeah. And there's actually, if you're talking about spirits and stuff, it's actually the least calories, if that is a thing you're doing, counting calories. There's not as much calories in gin as everything else.
It's the lowest spirit of calories you can get.
It is indeed. I think it's about 97 calories for a good, not a portion, what do you call it? What would you call it?
I don't know.
It's not a shot, like...
Yeah, like a G&T, like a glass.
Yeah, yeah. So, is that a measure?
A measure
of
is 50 ml. So if you're talking about the gin or the gin and tonic in total, I don't know the exact calories.
Yeah, I think I've seen somewhere is around the 97. I think they said for a G&T.
What do you, like, as a person that doesn't drink, like, what do you think? Say you took a shot of gin now. What experience do you think you'd have from it?
Well, remember you gave me the non-alcoholic gin.
Yes.
Okay, so I have drank that.
Like it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's just blowing my next few minutes out of order.
It probably has the same bit of bitterness to it, I suppose.
Yeah. So the thing I found about it, because I've never drank, that I found it very, very hard to drink because it's very sharp in taste.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're a drinker, you're quite accustomed to that taste because obviously you would have got that when you're 18, when you had your first drink or whatever. It shouldn't have been before that, but you come accustomed to the sharpness, and obviously if you get over the sharpness, then you're used to that, and then the taste comes in, and then you start finding what you like and things like that. Because I know when we would have went out first, it would all first it was whatever cheap stuff was. What's Linden Village bottles, 2 litre mugs.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a different time. Because that is alcohol just to get drunk. It's nothing to do with the taste and the experience.
Just to get drunk, yeah.
And I suppose as people have got older, it's more about, like, that's where craft beers come in and different tastes.
Yeah.
Copperberg is like berry tasting or something as well. So
yeah,
they're softer.
As you get to our age, the reason that you'd have a drink now on a Tuesday is literally just to wind down. Yeah. You know, there's no such thing now in our age. Well, I suppose if you're in a bad mood or on a Friday night, but you'd basically have a drink and you'd stop at the one. It just kind of goes through your system. You calm down, you cool down, and you sit down. Watch
and I mean it's all up to what you want yourself. I'm sure loads of people like a pint on a Friday evening at home watching Friday night football or something like that.
Yeah,
and that's their thing.
But I'd be the same there, and a lot of people are like that with people that love gin. They'd have one gin and tonic on a Friday.
So like when you get used to that sharp taste and get over that, that's where like the enjoyment factor comes into the taste of it then.
Yeah.
Where because I've never drank, I found it quite hard to drink, even though it was non-alcoholic obviously, but it was very sharp on it, like.
Yeah, but the gin and tonic kind of winds it all down to a nice flavour. There's not one I've never met anybody who drinks gin straight, like as in
you never go for like a shot of gin.
If anybody says I love gin neat, and they sip it and go, oh, that's lovely.
Neat, no ice.
Neat, no ice.
On the rocks, I know a few sayings.
On the rocks, yeah. But anybody who does sip gin neat is mental. It's impossible. Like there's a gin face that you put on as soon as you sip it. You can. I do it. I love gin. Yeah. I do it, but I couldn't drink a whole shot of gin. But I sip it and kind of get the flavours from it.
So like, it's about drinking a glass of gin over an hour.
No, because you'd need to have that gone in like 15 minutes because number one, your ice is going to melt, and number two, your tonic's going to defizz.
And I seen you make some big ice block. What was that about?
Clear ice. Yeah. Well,
you made a massive one. You were cutting it in half.
Yeah, so I made that in a cooler. It's really easy to do at home.
Is the ice important? Well, like why did you?
Hugely important.
Or did it just look cool because it was big block ice?
See, clear ice. Ice number one. Ice is really important in a gin and tonic because the more ice you have, your gin and tonic cools, like keeps freezing cold, but your ice doesn't melt. And let's say you put in 2 cubes of ice, and you put the tonic you put in is one that you've had in the press, and then your gin is like warm. You put that in; those ice cubes are just going to melt, and it's going to water down your gin and tonic. It's going to make it taste horrible. So put loads more ice. And the reason I use clear ice is because clear ice lasts a lot longer in your glass. There's not much air bubbles. It's just pure.
It has a higher melting point, so it has to be a lot warmer to melt, is it?
It basically takes a lot longer to melt. Yeah, if you put a load of clear ice in your glass, you'll have loads of clear. Your goal is to have loads of ice left over in your gin and tonic when it's empty.
Oh. Did you know that gin was sold in pharmacies to cure all sorts of ailments?
Why? Yes, I did. That's thanks for bringing it up. Well, you see, Dutch.
Well, sorry. I'm actually reading a sheet here because I looked up gin facts to try and test John.
Yes, yeah.
Today, and also because I didn't know a whole lot about gin because I don't drink.
And this is so interesting talking to someone that doesn't drink.
So I wanted to be able to do my part on this side of the podcast.
Well, you see, gin was like first brought out by the Dutch. Well, there's an argument over that. The British will say they brought it out. But
I think I have something that says that.
Yeah, there is. The British will always say.
It says the Dutch world of Juniper is
Geneva.
Yeah, fair. You can't even see this, and I got stuck on that word. And you knew what it was.
And that's technically where the name gin came from. Like so.
Junipers. It said they got short the gin over time. But is this not a same thing like, the British taking things it's not theirs?
Technically.
That's a whole different... We don't want to go down that path.
That's a whole other podcast.
They are fun to do things like that. So maybe they've done it with gin as well. It's hard to know.
Who have they tried to claim recently? Obviously Conor McGregor.
Yeah, Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your man in Bridesmaids, the Irish champ?
Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, like, in fairness, it's not actually the British, it's the Americans calling them
no, it'd be sometimes the British.
See, Obama made that mistake. He's in Scotland.
The Emerald Isles.
Yeah. That was a bit of a doozy one, alright, from him at that Cobb Yoke.
I wouldn't say the Scottish were happy about that now either.
No, because I think the Scottish are a lot like us in that respect, as in they don't like being mixed up.
Great gins in Scotland. You know what big gin is from Scotland?
It's probably from Edinburgh, is it?
No.
There's a lot of Scotch though. The Scotch
yeah.
is obviously Scottish, no?
I'm pretty sure, it might have been. I don't know much.
Just when I was in Edinburgh, it seems to be a lot of that. But then again, I'm not ordering. But since you started that though, in places I've been, I have more copper notes in it in places now.
Yeah.
When I'm in, and I look along and I see gins that I recognise from your cabinet. I'm thinking, oh, that's such and such.
Yeah, some people, like, bars kind of, to compete, they really have to up their gin game, because everybody was drinking gin.
Is there gin-specific bars? No.
Yeah,
that'd be too niche, no?
Well, there's gin-specific bars, but they also have beers.
Yeah.
But
there's not like one place where you can go in and it's just gin.
No.
Although that might be a good name for a pub, just gin.
Just gin. Yeah, that'd be good.
Just gin.
But there's the Gin Palace up in Dublin, they have just huge amount of gins. And if you go to London, like, there's literally distillers, like gin companies with a bar at the front.
And you don't know how many gin companies there are in Ireland, no?
Oh, to be low. Yeah, they keep on popping up, you see.
There's definitely more. I should have looked up stats, I suppose.
Well, you see,
to have that information.
There's only a certain amount, like there's a lot of gin companies, but there's only a certain amount of distillers. You're only allowed a certain amount of licenses in Ireland for gin, so you're going to see, like, one gin distiller could make 12 different gin companies' gins.
Okay, and it's just their packaging and all that.
Yes. So that gin company will go into this company and say, "Hi, will you make our gin?" Like Listoke Distillery in Drogheda, they make loads of people's gins.
That's the Sennheiser I have. It's quite good Sennheiser.
Yeah,
it's probably the best one, actually.
They do a great job. They're a great company.
And are they big?
Huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
Oh, like, they're huge in Irish terms. Like, and fair play to them. They're doing really well. Like, they sell into Canada and America, I believe, and China. And they're like, it's one distillery in Drogheda. Like, it's just selling worldwide. And then
would they make gin for gin companies that's not in Ireland?
No.
So it's whatever gin companies in Ireland and they...
Yeah, because a gin company in Ireland, you want it, like, the Irish brand is huge. So if you say you're an Irish gin, like, that's your...
So Irish gin would have, like, a good rep worldwide.
Yeah, it would.
If it had the Irish market.
We're on the same kind of par as Irish whiskey. You know, we make great Irish whiskey.
Have you ever been to the Philippines?
No, seen it on telly though.
Apparently, they are big into gin.
Yes.
They are actually bigger gin drinkers than Britain.
No way.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm educating you as well.
And probably Spain as well, pretty high up.
My notes don't say that, so I don't know.
Spanish drink a lot of gin.
Yeah, the Philippines, there you go. Wouldn't thought they'd be big gin drinkers over there.
Yeah, I've never had a Philippine gin before.
Could you pick 5, or is this like picking between your kids?
It is picking between my kids. Because they always differ. Like, one gin could be my favourite gin. Then, like, 2 weeks later, I'd be like, no, don't like that anymore, I'll have this one. And
what kind of different things do you put in gin?
Like, botanicals, as in...
Yeah, like fruits. I'd say you had rhubarb or something one stage, no?
Yeah, there's a rhubarb gin. But, like, gin is made with, obviously, botanicals, and you can put anything into it. You can put chilies, you can put peppers, you can put...
Oh, okay. So I thought like there was like limes, lemons. There is. I seen you doing rhubarb and you're talking slow berries.
You're talking about garnish. Garnish is a whole different kettle of fish.
What did I say?
Well, you're just saying put things into the gin.
Yeah.
So there's 2 things you put into your gin at 2 different stages, right?
Okay.
Let's say do you ever see these big pot stills, big copper things?
Yeah, the distilleries like.
Yeah, distilleries. So they open the door, So what you're doing is you have your neutral-based spirit in there.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're getting your lemon peels, you're getting your orange peels, you're getting your mint, you're getting your rhubarb, right? You're throwing it in there, into the bath. And you're throwing it into there, right? And then they close over the door and then they boil it. And because alcohol boils at a lower temperature than water, that alcohol is all seeped in this fruitiness and oils and everything. That goes up into a big spout and then comes, and without getting too technical, it turns back into liquid and then drips down into a cup, for example.
Yeah. So
that's your first thing. So that's your flavour. But then once that goes into a gin and tonic, then you add your garnish, would be a rhubarb or lemon.
Oh, so
slice.
Gin does come in different flavours?
Yes.
Oh,
but it's all about what way you distill it.
Oh, I thought the garnish, as you say, I thought that's what made the flavour in the gin.
No.
Oh, so gins come in different flavours.
Complements the gin. Like let's say you had loads of raspberries in your distillery. Let's say you distill it with raspberries. Threw it all in there. So that your gin technically is now raspberry flavour. And then let's say you pour it into your gin and tonic. So your gin has this raspberry aroma, and it tastes a bit like raspberry. Then you get two little raspberries, so you put it into your gin, and as you're sipping, you get the raspberry kick.
That would set it off a bit. Where if it was a raspberry gin, you wouldn't garnish it with anything else. It would have to be raspberries then.
Well, no, you'd have a good read of what's on the bottle. If it had lemon peel or citrus of some sort, you could, if you don't have any raspberries, put in a lemon peel. What you wouldn't do is, like, let's say it was like lemon and blueberries and rhubarb. You don't get like a parsnip. Slice up the parsnip and put the parsnip on the side. You nothing complements it. Although if it was a parsnip gin where you distill it with parsnips, perfectly fine to put a parsnip on it because it complements it. Yeah.
Now, gunpowder gin, is that the most famous one?
It's not famous in Ireland, at least. Yeah.
Where's that from?
Drumshanbo, County Leitrim.
And do you know why it's called gunpowder gin?
Because it contains gunpowder tea.
Oh, okay. Because I just seen a point here that gunpowder was used to determine the quality of gin. So naval officers used to test the quality of their gin with gunpowder.
I never knew that.
No, and then just when I knew that there was one called gunpowder, I was wondering, is that
third time we mentioned that in this podcast? We are not sponsored in any way by gunpowder.
I think that's probably because it's the only one. What one did I get you? Was it last Christmas?
You got me Dingle gin.
Okay.
Gorgeous. That bottle was like gone within a month. That's
alright, because it's getting harder to get you gin that you don't have.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that one at the time, you see. Good gins like that are the ones that you can break out happily and know that it's easy got, so I don't mind if a bottle. There are really a lot of gins that I get, and it's hard to find, so.
Would you have, like, limited edition gin?
Yeah, there's some limited edition gins, like Slow Berry Gin, or
and is that, I was just going to say, is it only out at certain times?
Yeah, only seasonal, yeah.
And have any place gone out of business owner? Is there like
gin companies gone out of business?
Is there like really special gins now that you couldn't get again?
No, not yet.
No,
not
yet.
Well, any gin companies gone out of business yet.
Hopefully they don't, but yeah, it's interesting enough on that, because as I said, I've never drank, so anything, regardless of whether it was gin or not.
And do you ever think you will drink?
No. Apparently you get a gold medal when you hit 50 years.
No way.
Yeah.
Off who?
I don't know, the priest or something.
Some guy.
just some guy.
On your 50th birthday?
It might, well, it wouldn't be my 50th birthday, because even though you take the pledge for your confirmation, I assume that it only really starts when you're 18. Because technically you're not meant to drink until you're 18. So I really don't know why you take a pledge on your confirmation. Is that just an Irish thing because they know, look, you're probably going to drink before you're 18? Like,
maybe that was maybe some people started drinking when they're 14. I don't know.
Oh, fair play, you left primary school, have a pint. Yeah. What other cocktails do you do with gin?
Oh,
do you know what the hot gin twist is?
No, I know what a hot gin toddy is, but tell me what this twist is.
That is all the information I have done.
Alright.
The hot gin twist was the most popular gin in London in 1823. Oh, well, maybe
hot
it wasn't
gin twist. I'm gonna make
is it a dance? Maybe it's a dance. It's so popular, in fact, that it was celebrated in many poems and newspapers of the time. Now, that's a bit misleading, because that could be a dance.
Could be a dance.
It could be just a type of gin, or it could be a cocktail.
It could be a cocktail.
But is gin too expensive to put in cocktails, apart from martinis?
No.
No,
it's true.
So it's not really that exclusive, really.
No, gin's not. No, just gin.
I just find that gin is a bit posh.
it used to be posh, and that started back in London back in the days. But it's not. It's not like that reputation is gone now. Like if you had gin and tonic maybe in 2014, 2015, you would have been classed as posh, but them days are gone now.
And do you feel, you know, when you're in a restaurant and you order a gin, and like a gin comes and you're like, that's shit.
Yeah, but see, you don't. One doesn't just order a gin.
Oh wow, okay.
You ask for the gin menu.
Okay.
You say, same as a wine. You don't
now,
just
if you're in a restaurant, right, and you ask for the gin menu, and they just brought you a drinks menu with like one gin at the tail end of it, would you be like, I'm leaving?
I would storm out of there. No, I'd ask for the manager first. But it's the same gin now, because gin is so popular. Like back in the day, you could have said, "Can I have a gin and tonic?" They give you Gordon's and Schweppes tonic. That was back in the day, but now
that was like standard.
That was literally just your standard. Yeah, okay. Gin and tonic was Gordon's and Schweppes. That was just whatever you asked for, you got that. But now gin is as popular as wine. So the same as asking for a wine menu in a restaurant, you'd say, "Can I have your gin menu?"
Okay, and most places probably have a gin menu.
Well, they'd have it at the back of the wine list, yeah.
So do you think it's overtaken wine? But you can't really drink gin. You can't like that. That's probably two separate things. Like wine is that an accompaniment to like different food.
Yeah.
So the way you go with your garnish to like set off your gin, then wine is probably the same. That certain, because I don't know, certain wines go with certain foods, obviously. Because you drink wine with food. It's not like an afterthought. Like a gin would be like a treat instead of like a cappuccino.
Gin is what you have
after your dinner.
Gin could be classed as an aperitif or yeah, I can never say that word. Aperitif, basically, it's kind of like something to wash down your food afterwards.
Okay.
Like the fizziness of the tonic, you know, it would wash down all that food. But your wine is obviously then you have that during the dinner. So yeah, wine would be. Gin will never take over wine.
If I had read on in my notes, I would have seen that there are more cocktails made with gin than any other spirit.
I would agree with that. It's so nice, so tasty.
Like what? What the? I don't know any cocktails.
Well, popular cocktails for gin, like there's the Clover Club. Like obviously the simple ones would be like the gin and tonic is a cocktail
in itself.
Okay. Because you're mixing two separate ingredients.
Oh, so that's what a cocktail is.
Yeah, cocktail is you're mixing. So gin.
But gin doesn't have an umbrella.
The cocktails don't have to have umbrellas. This isn't like Miami 5-0.
I think that is my criteria for a cocktail. Is that it's
an
umbrella?
Without an umbrella, you'd be like,
to me, that would be just a drink in a glass. It wouldn't be a cocktail if it didn't have an umbrella.
A fiery drink that burns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you mix them? I seen ones like, you know. Well, I suppose is the gin just the alcohol content in the... They're not really gin cocktails. They're cocktails with a gin element.
Yeah, so every cocktail has a base, which would be a spirit. And then other things go into it, like your fresh juices, your...
And ice.
Some cocktails don't have any ice. They're some cocktails are cooled down in a shaker. You know the shakers? You ever see a barman shaking the thing?
Oh, yeah. Tom Cruise in Cocktail.
Yeah, you've seen him.
I like that movie. I kind of have 4 to 5 Tom Cruise movies that I like him in. And I maintain it's before he got tanned and before he got his teeth straightened. So if you think back that far, there's Cocktail.
Yeah.
There's Days of Thunder, the NASCAR one.
Yeah. Crooked Teeth and them, Eddie.
Yeah, there are A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Crooked Teeth and Top Gun as well?
Well, that's when he started getting a few quid. And then finally Jerry Maguire. And Jerry Maguire was out in the mid-90s. So after the mid-90s, I don't really watch Tom Cruise movies. There are the 5 Tom Cruise movies that I like.
Scientology? Was he in Scientology when he was Top Gun?
No, that was only like the start of the noughties.
Maybe he straightened his teeth when he came to that.
That is just a rule of thumb now. You can look back and he might have straight teeth in Jerry Maguire, I'm not too sure. But those would be the 5 movies that I like from Tom Cruise. And Cocktail is one of them. I think Cocktail was mid-80s.
A good movie, Cocktail.
Yeah, sorry, just went off on a tangent there. Yeah, they're bringing out a new Top Gun.
They're bringing out... Yeah, they're talking about that years now. When is it coming out?
I think it was meant to be out like last year, but then pandemic and blah blah blah, and it got... I think it's made.
Can't social distance in a MiG 21.
That is true. Yeah, I'm not sure what part he's playing. He can't be.
He's obviously Maverick, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's not like as in the same movie as flying the planes. Is he an instructor?
I think he's an instructor. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Funny old movie, Cocktail, because you really only see him do cocktails a couple of times. Because he's with that other British guy, another British actor.
He pours things.
He's mixed them. I assume he learned how to do it because it looks like it's him that's doing it.
Yeah, because throwing them things, that's flair cocktailing. That's called flair bar. He's a flair barman. Loads of them in Dublin. Check them out.
Like throwing things, juggling things, catching things.
There's a great bar in Dublin called Nolita. They do like flair things, like the barman throws it in behind and lands it in the shaker, and really cool to go see.
That is an art in itself.
It is.
So if there is no junipers in gin,
Juniper berries.
Juniper berries. / juniper flavour.
Yes.
It's not gin.
It's not a gin. No, it's basically
so you can't sell it as a gin if it doesn't have that base ingredient in it.
By law, you're not allowed.
Okay, so that would be one of the main things that.
So keep an eye. There's a lot of fake gins out there.
How do you, what? There's a juniper shortage. It's not actually a berry. It said that back there. They are deceptive, as the name may be. Juniper berries are not in fact berries. They're actually just fleshy cones of female junipers that have an appearance very similar to a berry.
Yeah, that is true.
Right. Yeah. All about the facts.
It is. You've got some great notes there.
Yeah, it's the top 50 apparently.
I noticed you printed them all in full black. You must have no ink left in your printer.
I won't lie, this doesn't work, so I don't care.
Ah, well then, that's okay.
Yeah, I copied and pasted them, and I actually thought, that would be, when I printed them out, I was like, that will actually be easier to read. Black or white letters and a black background.
Yeah.
It's toner anyway, so...
For those who can't see, Bertie has like a full black A4 page in ink and then white letters.
It's actually quite easy to read. Off it.
Perfect.
That's probably why.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, so gin flavour, juniper berries, very good. Anything else you'd like to add in the old gin? We're at number 36 in the top 50, if that makes you feel any better.
What is? Gin?
No, I mean that these are the top 50.
Oh, right, okay.
Facts about gin, so we're on number 36 at the moment. Now, I obviously haven't read any of them out, but they have led to some questions that I've asked.
Yeah.
The need to drink gin cold and with lots of ice led to the invention of the ice ball in 2009. What's the ice ball?
It's just ball of ice.
you actually know, do you?
It's literally, I have one at home. It's basically just you have a mold and you just make a ball of ice out of it. Like just pour water into your mold and put it in the freezer and take it out and it just melts.
I feel gin tries a lot with different things to try and make itself different.
Well,
the glass, the bottle it comes in. It's all marketing.
It's a show. It's all a show. It's all about how cool you look with that glass. Some people don't even like gin; they're just drinking it in the bar. They just want to have this cool, like. What annoys me sometimes about bars, and bars know that people like to. They don't care what gin it is. They don't care. They just want to be able to hold this cool glass of gin while in the bar. Like, look at me. But a lot of bars know that they're hopping on this trend, and it really annoys me when a bar would get a gin and tonic and just put this tropical fruit salad in it. Doesn't matter. Like, it could be apples, it could be oranges, lemons, but like it's very wrong because you may as well just have a fruit juice because it's just all you'd be able to taste and smell are loads of different fruits. Now,
if you were to think of a stereotype with craft beer, what would come to mind? Is it like it's like
beard?
Yeah,
you have to have beards.
Man bun thingy.
Sometimes a man bun, yeah,
and like a hemp coat
or a mullet.
Okay, so
and a German green jacket. What are they called?
Oh, with the suede patches or the leather patches. Okay, so that would be craft beer.
Yeah.
What would the stereotypical gin drinker be like? Is there one?
It would be the guy sitting at the bar with a dicky bow
and a novel,
and a very skinny cigar.
So if you thought of like maybe like an old English teacher or something like
no arm patches on the gin and tonic drinkers.
Okay, so gin and tonic drinkers don't have arm patches.
No.
Very good. Did you know that juniper is a natural flea repellent?
No, I didn't.
There you go.
That must be
so much so that people used to use the plant to combat the smell of rotting bodies.
Now you're getting serious.
Yeah, I think they're running out. I think the first 10 was...
Did you know Ryan Reynolds owns a gin company?
I did. What's it called?
Well, it's Aviation. He bought Aviation Gin.
Yeah.
He bought it, but then sold it again. But he still has a stake in it. But
well, that's what didn't McGregor sell? Because McGregor's whiskey was shite, apparently.
He still owns that.
No, not some like Mexican company, by the way.
No way.
Yeah. Because I don't think it wasn't. He got a lot of money, but I don't think it was going that well.
I've never had it.
No two gins are like. I thought you said they're all the same.
No, I've never seen that.
I think you'll find if we go back, you didn't say exactly that they're all exactly all the same.
Gin is
get a reaction.
Same colour.
So it has a universal colour.
It does have a universal, but it can be pink as well. It can be brown. You can have a barrel.
I was sure you were going to go into a song there. What's that song?
You can get a barrel aged gin that'll go brown. Yeah, so
slow gin is gin's winter counterpart.
The opposite of fast gin.
Okay, so that is where slows are fruits related to the plum.
Yeah, so there is a sloe berry, right? SLOE, which is like a blackthorn. You know blackthorn bushes that you probably have them.
Yeah,
your field
down the field.
You can pick all them and steep them in a gin, an existing gin, or your neutral grain spirit with juniper berries, and you can have a slow gin. It's very winter style.
Yeah, that's what it says here. So it's more Christmassy, like some people even have hot mulled slow gin. So you would heat gin up. Yeah,
you can have hot gin toddies. Yeah, you can have your slow gin, but you can also basically the same as you make a hot whiskey.
I was just going to say actually, does gin go in anything like coffee, food? Is there there's the Irish coffee that has whiskey in it? No.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have a gin coffee. No, you can make a gin espresso thingy. Just a cocktail. I don't make them, but.
And does it go in any food like cherry trifle? Could you have gin trifle?
You could. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff.
Would that be good because cherry trifle notoriously has fruit in it?
Yeah.
So could you mix the fruit with gin?
Yes. Steep the
and like have berry gin.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. But you can have like
because that's basically the only way I'm ever going to taste gin is in food.
You should do it. And would you have that like that way? Yeah?
Oh, I love cherry trifle.
Would it break? But is that not breaking your pioneership?
No, not once it's in food apparently.
Who says that now? Priest?
I don't know. It was in the rule book I got.
Alright, so in the rule book you can have alcohol in food.
Yeah, because alcohol in food is part of the food. You're not drinking it because it's alcoholic, if you get me, like. So you're not drinking it to get drunk. Because I like cherry trifle.
So does that mean you can have Jello shots?
That's questionable.
I think we should give it a go.
Although it is jelly.
I'll bring one next week.
Now I said that sherry trifle has fruit in it. Sherry trifle comes and goes. Sometimes it's whiskey. Sometimes it's brandy trifle. It depends what we have.
Nice.
So every Christmas is a little bit different.
You usually have like 5 or 6 bowls of sherry trifle now at Christmas time, just to.
Me personally, obviously we have the one big bowl.
You keep on eating your sherry trifle until you feel a bit woozy.
No, I just like the sherry trifle after dinner. Get some custard on it, some ice cream, some Smarties. But I don't like the fruit. So basically, what I have is I have sponge and jelly and cherry. So I get my own personal one made with no fruit in it.
Nice.
That's just the way. Yeah, that's the way it is. Now the last question on this, or the last fact on this, is what came first, the gin or the tonic?
Gin came first.
Gin was actually added to tonic, not tonic added to gin. So there we have it. 50 facts about. Oh, okay. I thought that was going to give more in-depth information about that. There you go. That's
very cool facts, Bertie.
Yeah, that's 50.
I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're quite informative about gin. I learned a bit there. I hope I taught you something there on my 50 facts. So it's nice to come a little bit
get
prepared.
Over to the Philippines as soon as I can.
Yeah, there you go. There could be loads of gin there. Lads selling on the street or something maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Last thing, right, we'll wrap up just there on the gin, so that's that done, is I want to say just something that is bugging me, right? And maybe you've noticed as well, people with not their headlights on. Like they're missing a bulb. And this time of year, it's gone a little bit late now to not have your bulbs checked. You know, slightly acceptable towards the end of September, when it's just getting dark and you're like, oh, I haven't used my lights all summer. And I didn't know the bulb was gone. Number one is, you should always drive with your dip headlights on. No matter what time of year it is.
Sometimes, one of the dipped headlights are gone?
Yeah, right, okay, so my thing is,
there are two.
You should always know that your lights are gone, because you should always drive with your lights on. Okay? Now, if your full light is gone and you've two dips, that's not as bad when you meet that at night time.
Yes.
Okay? Because you might have your full lights on and then you put them on dips and you've two dips. The one that really annoys me is when they've no light. So they're driving along and you can only see one light. And you don't know what that is.
And it's even worse if it's on, like, the one that's gone is the right-hand side one.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's lethal dangerous.
Oh, it is. And especially if you go from your full lights to, like, your parking lights. And I've seen someone, and he was driving with two parking lights.
Yeah.
He had, like, no full lights on.
Yeah.
It was like these two candles coming towards me. So
do you ever, like, roll down your window and shout abusively?
Bulbs, well, in some cars they're probably hard to change, right? I know the silver Passat I had.
I did, Jesus, yeah.
And it was really hard to get them out because they're like these xenon bulbs. But majority of the time it's not that hard to change your bulb. Get someone to change it because it's dangerous for you because you have poor visibility. So, I know, a random badger runs out in front of you. You mightn't see him till late. And number two is, it's bad for the car that's coming towards you as well. Because as you say, it's already in the town. Maybe these are town drivers. So you have the town lights and you don't notice. But a lot of cars have the little light that comes on that tells you the bulb's gone. Now, I don't know what year that came in. But, it's there. But you should always maintain your car.
Yeah.
Whether it's the tyres for winter, make sure they've got good grip. And your lights and your wipers. And that's like the minimum car check for winter. I just passed a few over the last few weeks. It is now November, and it's too late into winter to not realise that your bulb's missing.
That is a hardcore rant. Like, I can guarantee now after, whoever's listening to this is gone straight out to change their bulb in that car. I guarantee it.
It's important. Now, okay, some of them might be, they were literally, drove to the shop, they had lights, because it happens, come out, start your car, bang, bulb is gone.
Yeah.
But change it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And as I said, I don't mind when you've dips and you might be missing a full light because at least you still have lights. But if you have nothing on, and I've often passed people with a dip, say on the left hand side, which is the ditch side, and a spotlight on the road side. And then, as you said, if you only have lights on the ditch side and you've no lights on the driver's side or the road side, that's the worst because you could literally think that's a motorbike and it's over near the ditch until you come right on top of it.
Yeah, and I always drive in the middle of the road. I only turn, I only go back into my side when I know there's two lights coming.
Exactly, so it's just a thing, look, be safe over it, or check your car, a quick little test and make sure all your lights are working. That's kind of.
And look, my tip is, if you don't want to fix your light, like, sell a type of flashlight to the side and that should do the job.
Just that's a solar light or something.
Yeah. one of these rock lights from Lidl. You can sell it, super glue it.
The solar lights,
yeah.
just have some.
Yeah, because the lights coming, like, it's genius. The lights coming at your car, they'll charge that temporarily until you meet the next car.
Sounds like we're going into like a bit of a Fred Flintstone.
And like, if it does work out well, then if the other bulb goes, two of them.
Okay.
Because usually you get set of three, so you just spare
three rock lamps for your garden.
Yeah.
And use them.
Put one in the centre.
Oh, mint. But look at just check your bulbs and make sure they're right for the winter. As I said, wiper blades are important too. And
let's not get into wiper blades.
And your tyres as well.
Save them for next week.
Okay, we'll wrap up on today because we did tend to go a little bit long last week, so we kind of wanted to keep it in under the hour.
Yeah. I think we achieved that, didn't we? Under an hour?
Yeah, we're going grand. Like I said, gin topic this week, and we'll see what we'll do next week.
Yeah.
If you do go to Instagram and do like our page, the JP Waffle Hour, and JB Waffle Hour, I said JP. JB, thinking I know what the start of my name begins with. We will post up little snippets and things like that once we get that up and going, because hopefully we like doing it, so hopefully it'll take off. And
we'll also be taking pictures of cars with one light, and we'll be posting them in our stories.
Name and shame them. Name and shame them
with the number plate.
So they
give us a follow and give us a message on like the last post.
Because we will mention you if you want to be mentioned on the podcast. As I said, the few people that did contact us over the last one. In fairness, I was a little bit surprised. There was definitely more people listening to it than I thought was going to listen.
Yeah,
I thought
it would just be us.
Yeah,
me and you.
Yeah, and maybe someone seen it on Instagram. But like we did get quite a few on the feedback stats from Spotify, which is good. We're on Spotify and Acast, but I think most people probably follow the Spotify.
Acast, never heard of it.
Yeah, Acast app. So I was going to promote other podcasts there, but we won't do that. So I listened to a few on Acast, one in particular, and then a lot on Spotify. So in order to be on Spotify, I think you have to be on Acast, and it just puts it onto it. But yeah, if you go on to Spotify, you can find us and things like that. And like that, feel free to comment on our Facebook posts. You didn't post up about the podcast last week.
I didn't.
No,
I shared it.
It wasn't on your Instagram, was it? Was it on your story?
Not on the Enthusiast Instagram.
Oh, your own.
But this one I will share on it.
Okay.
But on my own one, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get a few listens.
But on the Enthusiast one, I'll
and if you have any gin related questions, we can always answer them. Well, I say we can always answer them. I will put them to John next Wednesday.
Yeah, ask what or let us know like your favourite gin, or just give me a follow on Enthusiast, and I'll answer any gin questions also.
Yeah. Paul listened twice.
You listened to the same podcast twice.
Yeah, he listened to it with Sarah as well.
Paul.
He was buzzing that he was the first name mentioned in the opening few minutes.
He was too.
Yeah, yes. And he has offered his services as well, so we might get him in.
Yeah, we might get him in as a guest.
Yeah, as a guest.
Superstar DJ.
So if we have a topic maybe that he'd like to talk about as well, we can always get him in.
Not Salesforce. Don't want to talk about Salesforce.
Okay, that's why do you?
Nothing against Salesforce.
Do you use like 4 sales or something?
Yes, I'm a SAP user. Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's not.
That joke went falling down.
Oh, at a SAP convention, that would have been
hilarious.
It would have been, Okay, that's it for this week. Look we're only in episode 2. We've no real good intro and we've no real good outro.
But it's all about the fun we're having.
Yeah, we're enjoying it here in the studio in Borsmill. So, right, we'll sign off for this week, and we shall chat to you next Wednesday.
Thanks for listening.
Waffle Wednesday from the John Bernard Waffle Hour podcast. So we'll tune in to you next week, or you tune in to us. Why did I say tune in to them? We're not going to tune in to listeners.
Because we're connecting. We're connecting to them, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
Tuning into those minds.
Yeah, and like that, any questions and you want and your name dropped on the podcast, just pop a comment underneath any post you see. Cool. So that's us done for this week. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Bernard. Bye-bye.
This has been the John Bernard Waffle Hour podcast.